I think some elementary programs are probably fairly strong thanks to George Graham and some of these people that have infused some life into physical education rather than games and relays. And I think as you go up, the programs are probably, there's less chance of them being very good. One of the things in all levels probably is the 2-3 week unit. I don't know how many other areas in which they've got that approach to education where we dab them with a couple of weeks of something and then we dab them again, then next year we go through it again as if they're going to get better that way. So I would say that, I mean, my position has been for quite a long time that we're making a mistake by defending physical education, isn't that what it is? Just, I see these little pockets of things. I think sport education is a good thing, for example. I think there's a number of, things, adventure education, in the right hands, in the hands of somebody that really, you can't top-down mandate it. I think you really have to pay more attention to the values of teachers and stuff like that. And I think, but I think there are some models out there, certainly for those that are possible, but they are in a tiny minority right now. If I listed, let's say, 7 or 8 different approaches that I think have some merit, I would say that the tiny percent of schools that do any of them with any consistency. PE is not going to be cut out any place where it's really good. I don't see any heresy in cutting PE out. If it's no good, cut it out. And maybe we need to cut it out and start over, and start to ask, what do we want a school to be? What do we want kids to have? And does PE have any place in that? But we start with the question of what's really important. And if we can answer that question in terms of what we do, fine. But to defend what we are now doing doesn't, to me, make much sense. I do say to all my students, one, if you do what's in the mainstream, if you do the traditional stuff, you're going to be better off. You won't have any problems. However, you may not be helping anybody either. But you yourself won't. You start to move on the mainstream, wherever way you go. You start to do innovative stuff. You try to pick up some of these models we're talking about. You're going to have trouble. So first of all, know that. And the trouble is going to come from a number of sources. If you're working with older kids, it'll come from kids. Because the ones that like PE are going to like what they have done in the past, not what you're going to bring in if it's different. You've got to fight them. Colleagues. If you're not in an elementary school, mostly teachers, as long as they get their break, don't care. In the secondary schools, middle, high school, unless you're lucky, people are going to be threatened by what you're doing. So I say, don't tell them. I think we need to do more work with other teachers. We need to interact with them, other teachers. We need to plan with them. We need to show that we are more holistic than we now are. We just need to be smart. If you're smart, that's going to get around. We have a different kind of mentality. We have a kid mentality. We have to get kid-oriented, not content-oriented. I mean, that's the essence of teaching, it seems to me, is you got to get kid-oriented.